Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Mike Lynch and Repo Rod.
They didn't deserve that. They were doing exactly what they were told. They got the Grand Poobah up here. Well, next thing you know, he's on TV telling the Mexican mafia, suck my. Oh, well, that was a big mistake. No, that's not the way we feel. That's the way you feel. And to throw us under the bus like that, now when them guys see us, you're not going to get nobody knocking on the door talking to you. You're going to come off that bike with holes in you. That's the way they work, and it's known by all of us. There's certain things that we just don't cross the line because it has no benefit to us. Them guys on the East Coast, okay? I mean, it's pretty much known that what they want to call organized crime and all this and who talks to who. Well, then all of a sudden you are one of them, and number one, we have no issues. So why bring one? Don't do business with somebody that we don't belong doing business with. And if it does work out, there's somebody that is there that is the most qualified to do so. Preferably not a hothead, That's where I had a few problems. When people started saying, I started letting my mouth overload like I'm telling, hey, we're not going to be bullied by anybody. Let's talk. If we're going to talk, then that's fine. But I don't want to make no deals. I don't trust anybody. And now it's gotten to the point where we have to question our own people.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at, and I don't care how big or small the issue is it should never, ever, ever, never reach outside of our lips. That's how we conduct ourselves. It don't come out of our mouths. So you can't say, well, I got it from the horses. No, you didn't. You lying. And then this hearsay you get, and then you modify it so you can get paid for that podcast or
that's what George is doing.
Okay, but okay. Nobody, and I mean, you're the first person, and I've been watching this stuff for a while now. You're the first person that said, you know what? All that you're putting out and getting paid, that's not exactly what transpired.
Yeah.
And we out here, because if you were friends with Tom, you felt it. And to have anybody that wasn't even here make comments about it is an insult.
Mike, really, I felt it hard, and it was a major insult.
When I said, I went over your deal twice. Then I called Bill. I said, hey, man, I said, Repo don't seem like he's real happy right now about some. I said, you need to have him call me, and I'll, basically I'm in the same boat. We got somebody that's talking for big money that isn't accurate in the information that they're putting out, but in the all said and done, Hell's Angels is what this is about. That motherfucker, you see him on the podcast, got every mother picture, everything. Most of us lost. We had to cover up.
He went to prison. How come they didn't take all his?
I'm just saying, we have to go. You got to black that out. You got to do this. And I go, wait a minute. I didn't do anything to get kicked out of this club. What the f are you talking about? Next thing you know, you're out bad.
Yeah.
Now, anybody that plays by club rules, if that one mother says, well, I know that what's his name talked to Rod, you're and he's and anybody that he talked to is and that's not the organization that I want to belong to. I mean, I don't know you from Adam, but I guarantee if I got out there and we start hanging out, you can believe it'll be like super glue. This is the way we carry ourselves because we always did. There's some people that always did and never strayed.
My thing, Mike, is they did what they did with me based on lies, and they put me out. I was still waiting on my case. While I'm out, I go to court and get convicted on. While I'm out, after they did what they did up in the law, and then they change my status and bring me back. You guys, you mother.
Exactly.
You went and you did what you did on lies, and you pushed those lies out to the West Coast as well.
Yes.
Because you never asked a question, motherfuckers. You never asked a question. You assumed. But you want me to come stand in a room with 100+ motherfuckers, where probably 20 of those dudes was rats already. Go yourself, East Coast.
Yep. And like I said,
ain't no better way to put it.
I tried to explain to Bill, look, if you have something to say and you're saying it like you did, and that, okay, you have nothing to gain from any of that. Nobody's paying you,
nope.
You know, to give the truth, you know, and you don't have to pay me for the truth. I'm going to tell you right now. This is what transpired. How do I know? Because I'm the one that was sitting in that cell for 7 months. And when you asked me why, they told me point blank, prosecutors, the cops, and everybody else, it's because of information that we gathered doing an ongoing investigation into Ventura, that some of them guys, I say some, because that's what it was. It wasn't the whole charge. There was a few guys in there that couldn't handle the pressure from law enforcement, and they said what they said to basically save their own ass.
Now, George got put on the spot, right? Towards the end of his reign, he was in, didn't they call him somewhere and they put him on the spot? Do you remember?
This is what I understood. They wanted him at the OM, not none of this hearsay, not somebody from a charter going to speak for you. And this ain't the first time I seen it with him. You know, we don't want any of this blah, blah, blah. Maybe that, but no, we want here right fucking now. Now, from what I was told is that an Oakland member, maybe two, pinned a letter, and they wanted George to read it aloud at the OM. Okay. And I know the guys that wrote it, you know, and, you know, when that time came, I heard the piece of paper went down and said, I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to answer to this. Whatever. Now, doing it for the goodness of the heart and all that. Come on, man. You know, that ain't you can get these guys on these podcasts and these guys out here that are citizens, and they're just curious. You know, they got to know something, and they like being able to hear what he has to say, because they're taking it. Well, the guy's a 30-year member. He's got to be telling, okay, that's not the truth. And that's where you're like us. We even get a smell. We're looking for that motherfucker. Why? Because I smell homie. Don't try to tell me that's pudding. That's shit. And then we talk and we say, well, we need to go find this pile of shit. You know, we need to go find it and not just assume that everybody's telling us the truth, because that's not what it is no more. You know, loyalty is kind of backed out. You know,
George always claimed he investigated. He did the homework. He always made sure what he was doing was thoroughly investigated and righteous. Well, maybe he did then, but he sure don't now.
And
it's lies that come out of his mouth.
It just seems it money went on and for lies. About 10 years with me in the money situation. Okay. I had problems with certain charters being on time.
Yeah.
Now, I knew everybody well enough that, okay, say you came to me, say, Mike, I've blah, blah, blah. As soon as I get back home, whatever airmail, whatever the fuck it's going to be, it'll be there Monday or Tuesday. And I'll say to you, cool. I'll write it down in my notes. Rod said I get my shit. And do I feel bad about it? No, because on Monday I got my shit. So now we've established, you and I, what we say and what you do. There's no reason for me to disbelieve you.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where there was 3 or 4 charters you could count on that would make an excuse. And we can't make excuses on them on our assessments. You know how important those are, because we can't borrow because somebody didn't pay. Well, I'm not going to borrow from us. Why don't you just pay your bill? And I'm basically a pencil pusher when it comes to that stuff. I'm not a disciplinarian. I'm not going to go say, well, if you don't pay me or else. That's the sergeant's job. And I would bring it up and I don't care. It just kept the not following our protocol was just getting old with me. You know, then the guys would ask me and I go, man, you know, it's like when somebody from our own day wrote me a couple bad checks. And I said, hey, that's it. Well, it got so bad that I wrote 2 rules for the West Coast. If you don't pay and we bring it up, there's going to be a tax. If after all that, you don't come clean, then you're coming to the room and you're going to explain yourself.
Yeah.
Not, okay, they'd send a guy to the ON that wasn't even an officer. And he's supposed to know what we're doing. I can't get in his because he doesn't know. He was just told to show up at this meeting, bring the paperwork back, and that's it.
They purposely sent him there.
You know they did.
Yeah. Well, you'll be okay because you don't know anything. You go.
So what? They're trying to get away with like skating around and not paying it or something?
Stretch the time a little.
Yes.
So did you change it to where an officer has to bring the money?
Well, the deal was you can't have a rule in anything we do because there's always somebody out there trying to circumvent that. Well, I didn't. As the law is written, swoop over here. And as the law is written, okay, we sit there, we all talk about, well, that's kind of shaky, but by the letter of the law, yeah, you could probably. Why are you trying to beat us down? We're your people. The things that we are doing, these parties that I put on, these things that go, it's all for us as a whole. But yeah, you don't want to help this, in my opinion. If this brother is needing money because he's got a serious case going and we owe this much money come, you know, and we don't just call you up the day before and say, hey, by the way, everybody knows what's happening 2 months in advance. They know how much, they know why for, they know everything because it's in the minutes. Okay. Well, if a guy chooses to ignore that, then you're ignoring our club or somebody in this club as a whole. Somebody's not going to get quite the lawyer money that they should have. You know, now I got to explain to the lawyer, and then the lawyer will call one of the powers that be and say, well, I didn't get my money. Then guess who? They come and ask me. Well, I'm reluctant to say a name. It'll go south on me. I know it will.